Good evening, everybody. This is Alpha Shift Radio, the Alpha Shift podcast. I'm David Kruger.
And I'm Don Kovaleski.
And we are glad to be with you tonight. Tonight we have a very interesting concept that Don and I discussed ahead of time. It was Don's suggestion. Don, you get the credit for this one. It was a great idea.
Yes, credit.
Yes, you get the credit. The theme we're going to talk about tonight is life is sales. Love is sales. Romance. It's all a form of sales. A lot of us don't like the idea of sales, especially some of us who, Aunt Gertrude got us into Amway and we tried to get everybody we know and that sort of thing. Or maybe we, took a job as a commissioned salesperson, at a car dealership or somewhere else and didn't do so well at it. We hate sales, and sales gives us a sick feeling in our stomach, and we have to kind of get over that.
Well, we don't like salespeople.
We don't like salespeople. We don't like the idea of being sold.
Right. People who just seem desperate for they just got to close you. And if you aren't adding to their bottom line, then you are useless to them.
Exactly. You feel used.
Right. We don't like that.
No.
However, I just think there's another angle. I am 46 years old. Mm-hmm. I have been in sales as a career, as the profession I choose to feed my family. Mm-hmm. And yes, there is a part of it that when you get into it, it's just like every phone call, every time you dial that phone, your mortgage payment, your car payment, everything is on the line with that phone call, and that's that desperate sales. But when you can move past that and realize it's a game of relationships.
Yes.
It's practicing consistency, making sure that people don't feel like you are just a means, they are a means to your end.
Right.
You tend to look at the whole world a little bit differently.
Yes.
And that's what once we get past this preamble,
yeah.
I'm going to tell you the system I have, and I've been able to apply this not just in my professional life, where it is very important, and it is a game. I mean, these are people that you work with, and they're your clients, or you want them to be your clients,
yes.
and they understand, they hold the purse strings on their side, and you're going to call, but at the end of the day, it is selling yourself. And
yes.
I've never been in a situation where it's not me that they're buying because they trust me, they like me, they think that I'll follow through on what I say.
Yeah.
And so we'll kind of go into what I developed many years ago, and I use it to this day, both in my work life and my side hustles and hobbies.
Sure.
And then, kind of casually, I use it just to keep in touch with friends and to follow up on hobbies and various things that I've promised people. So we'll get into that.
Absolutely. And it got me thinking, building relationships and the way you're selling yourself. I mean, think about people who are really trying to make their relationships work. And a man who's trying to make a relationship work with his wife. You feel sometimes like you're being sold. You feel sometimes like you're a means to the end. Let's say you've got a situation where the intimacy isn't there. A lot of our listeners are in that situation. Mm-hmm. And when you're trying to build that back together, you're telling someone there's a problem. They feel like your wife might feel like, you're just trying to get something from her. You're trying to get validation from her. And, that's the same as a salesperson needs to get the sale and make the money.
Right.
And when you make it more a game, when you make it a game of relationships and a give and take and of selling yourself and of adding value to the customer or the spouse, or the significant other, or the friend, or it's like when you come to it and you're adding value, they'll want to buy you.
Well, that's the number one. Yes, like okay, I got two places I can buy a Chevrolet.
Yeah.
Same car, Equinox, and this one over here said they're going to give me a $100 gas card.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh. And not only are they going to give me a $100 gas card, they're going to make sure my first 2 oil changes are free. And that guy who was trying to sell me that Chevy Equinox, he called me back. He said he would call me back, and he did call me back.
Yes.
I told him I needed to get my price to this. He called up. He couldn't quite do it. He apologized. He explained why. Now, this is car salesman, right?
So this is important. This is a great analogy. Yeah.
But there are car salesmen that make $500,000. There's car salesmen who've written books because they go above and beyond. They keep track of who leased, and their lease is just about up. And, oh, how you doing? Oh, you have a 15-year-old. They'll call on like getting close to the 16th birthday of your child and be like, hey, you're going to have another driver. Is there any way we can get? So it's these little things like this, and I'm going to tell you a system. Like, how could I ever remember that?
How could you ever remember all that?
Right. How could I know? But there is a simple way.
Okay.
And you can, just like we're talking about the Chevy Equinox salesman.
Sure.
You touched on relationships, and I feel very strongly about this. It is not manipulating. I don't manipulate my wife, but at one point in our relationship, I had to sell her on the fact that I was worthwhile as a boyfriend.
Yes.
And then I had to it was the full-on sales pitch, because when I go to make that presentation of the engagement ring, I want her to say yes.
Yes.
It's no different than in the
guy want to make the sale.
The guy trying to sell me the Chevy Equinox. It's not just walk in, buy a car. That does happen.
Yeah.
But he knows he's working not for just this sale, but your next 5 cars.
Yeah.
Because a typical person will buy 5 cars in their lives.
Yeah.
5 to 9 cars. So if he or she worth his salt, he's doing it. At the same time, my wife was selling me. She wanted to make sure that she could make me laugh, and we had a good time together, and she wasn't bringing down the relationship, but bringing up the relationship.
Yes.
We're all bringing something to it. So she was selling me because she would like to get that proposal, in a very traditional sense.
Yes.
I asked her parents. I proposed. She said yes. And then you've got the whole engagement. We were engaged for a year and a half, a little bit more.
Okay.
And that's this is a big step. This is more than just dating. We're going to eventually live together and have a family and kids and a mortgage, and she's going to see me through bad times and good times.
Yes.
So we continue that whole sales pitch. And it's just keeping on, adding value. Thinking of
big on adding value.
Right? And it is the same. So, oh God, I know that makes me sound like it's so formulaic. Like I manipulated my wife into this entire life together.
I don't think it sounds manipulative.
But
it sounds smart.
But it's just taking that sales mentality.
Yeah.
When you go to a restaurant, you can be a jerk to your waiter or waitress, or you could be nice.
Yeah.
If you want good service, when they say they're asking, instead of them asking about you, if you ask them about themselves, how long have you worked here? Are you just starting your shift, or is this a double? Oh, I'm working a double. Oh my gosh, then we'll be nice to you.
I find that to be magical with service people.
Right.
When you ask them about themselves, a lot of times they'll say, "Thank you for asking." It's like no one does that.
Right. And those are little moves. Now, I'm not going to put them in my sales spreadsheet, but I tell people all the time, you are in sales. Like there's the prototypical sales guy, and he is always the life of the party, and he's got the best jokes and the best stories. But having been in many sales organizations, not everybody is that Alec Baldwin, super seller, Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, the Glenn Ross guy.
Yes,
right.
I've seen just as many soft-spoken people who are like 10 times smarter than me. They don't have jokes, but they're so trustworthy and so solid. Who would not want to work with them?
Right.
And that goes with anything.
Yeah.
Have someone come out, have 5 people come out and give you a window estimate.
Yeah.
You're going to meet 2 smarmy ones, and then you're going to meet a guy that he's like, I know I'm supposed to get your signature before I leave, but this is a big decision, and you're going to spend $8,000, and I really would like your business. I've been doing this a long time. If they just talk to you like a real person, it's sales. Yeah.
Now you're going to feel comfortable with that person because you're buying the person.
Yeah.
A sales prospect is buying you. Someone who buys into a business opportunity is buying you. Anyone in a relationship is buying you.
Interview for a job.
They're buying you.
My kids, I have 3 kids, 16, 15, 13. Every day I am selling them on what I think is the best way to study and succeed in life.
Yes.
This is the best way to treat each other as brothers and sisters. This is how you treat your teachers. This is how you treat your students. You should volunteer. This is how you build your resume. Now, there's the whole parenting thing, like you do as I say.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more effective if I can get my kids to buy in.
Right, exactly. If you can make them acquiesce because you're dad, but if you can get them to buy in,
right,
they'll really subscribe to it.
Right. And don't text and drive. If you have even a sniff of alcohol, don't get behind the wheel. Those are orders.
Right.
There's no salesman,
there's no
salesmanship on that.
Right.
But if it's, hey, come home from school on Friday, get all your homework done, or at least really lay it out and get a kind of map for an hour and a half. You know it's going to take. And I always have this philosophy. My kids hate me.
Yeah.
I always say, last things first, first things last.
Okay.
Do the last thing you want to do. Do it first.
Right. That big task you want to put off, just tackle that first.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I hear you.
But I'm selling them on that.
Yeah.
I'm repeating it all the time. They know that little phrase that I have by heart.
Yep.
And they've maybe not now, but maybe in college or maybe after college, they're going to say, my dad always said, last things first, first things last.
First things last. It might take half a lifetime to sink in and for them to really espouse it, but yeah, you're doing a good job. You're laying the seeds.
Right, but that's
planting the seeds.
That's life is sales. Back to that. I've been married for 23 amazing years.
Yeah.
But I didn't close the deal, and that's it.
Right.
Done. I closed it. Done. I made the sale. I see marriages.
You're continuing to sell her.
Marriages end in divorce.
Yes, they do.
And the people in those relationships maybe didn't keep selling themselves.
Correct.
You interview for a job, you're selling yourself.
I think that you talk about divorces and people don't keep selling themselves. I think that what sets in is, and one of the guys who wrote in last week that we read his letter, he talked about how he couldn't really trust his wife and she wasn't the person he could go to. I think that what sets in sometimes is a sense of entitlement. This person is my wife, and she should be there for me all the time. She should be my everything. She should be my support. And, there's a sense of entitlement and not a sense of continuing to sell and add value to the relationship. And that's where you start to go north and south. That's where you start to lose it.
Yeah.
And, no one taught us this before we got married.
No.
You did a good job, Don. Without really necessarily teaching you formally how to do that.
Right.
You did a good job. Continuing to sell.
Yes. And but my dad didn't teach me that. Maybe I saw it, and as I've expressed, my brain isn't completely correct on all these things, but it's just how
that's a solid idea.
How I look. But to go back, like you continue to sell yourself.
Yeah.
If you have a job where you have to sell,
yes,
you have to cold call, you have to get meetings, and it's a numbers game.
Yes.
Like you better make 50 phone calls to get, I think it's 5 appointments.
Right.
And of those 5 appointments, you better be on your game because only one of those is going to ask you after the meeting for maybe a proposal and a presentation.
Right.
And then that's your close.
Yeah.
So you got to make another 20 phone calls. So 100 phone calls might get 20 meetings and might get 4 deals done. Whatever the math is.
Right.
Depending on it. But then after you make the sale, there are some where make the sale, push it off to an administrative team, and they're going to do all the following the commitment. But most sales organizations, if you are the person that developed that relationship and you sold it, you've got to keep selling.
You've got to keep selling.
A week later, hey, how has my team been doing with fulfillment? Hey, what are our next steps? Hey, can I talk to you about another opportunity? I think this might help. And, and it's anything like you said, it's Amway, or Avon. It's never just like I sold her a jar of hand lotion and done.
Yeah.
No, you have to okay, did you like my service? Did it make your hands? If you liked that, you might like this soap. You might like this other product. What about your husband? He might like this. But what a great gift! And that's real sales.
That's real sales. That's intense.
Yes.
Wow.
But
I've been sold like that, and it's something that I've never been excessively good at in like the sales process and the sales, like just that follow up.
Right.
I'm a copywriter. I'm good at like sales and writing, getting you to click on the link and buy the product.
All right. Let's get into that.
Yeah.
What you're excited about that?
Yes.
You like the creative process.
Yes.
You feel that you're good at it.
Oh yeah.
So your sales process, like you may not be like me,
right,
where I'm selling somebody else's product.
And you're really good with the follow-up calls and listening to that. I'm like, wow.
Right. We're gonna share, and you can cut me off anytime. We're gonna share a system.
We'll get into that in a minute.
It's a spreadsheet.
Okay.
And it works. And if you wonder, like, how do people do it? How do people always remember birthdays? How do I just feel like there are some people in my life that just they'll call me up. Mm-hmm. They never forget. They always remember me. I'll tell you, some people do it absolutely naturally.
Okay.
I use help.
Okay.
From this spreadsheet.
Okay.
But back to you, or anyone. You like writing, you like creating.
Yep.
you were, you've written scripts.
Yes.
You worked in Hollywood for a while.
Yeah.
That was you. So maybe you can't go out and sell, windows. You're not
Right.
going to go to a company and sell windows.
I actually did do that for 2 months.
Okay.
I worked for Hanson's.
But you're
Didn't
never
work
going to
out.
be super excited about it.
No.
You might get excited about meeting new people and, you think you have a great product. So, like, okay, gosh, they're going to see 5 people give them window estimates.
Right.
And I've seen these guys in the warehouse. They're fantastic. I work with them. I'll show up on the install day because it matters to me that you are happy. You should think about Windows once in your life. And that's the whole salesmanship. But you're excited about what you do.
I'm excited about what I do.
So when you get in front of somebody and they're like, I just need some help with this and the website and I need some blogs written, you can say, I can do that.
I can do that.
I like doing this.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 10 ideas because I like to get all my ideas out on paper and then you choose me.
Yeah.
And that's your pitch. That this guy loves what he's doing. And even when I tell him, like, Dave, you missed the mark. What you wrote just doesn't. Okay, we'll rework it.
We'll rework it.
I'm good.
We got it. Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
So it's all sales.
It's all sales. You just have to find your passion.
Or think of it like that.
Think of it like that. Yeah, it's true. Because so many of us, I think, who get into sales, we get into the wrong thing. We see an opportunity to make money, or we see an opportunity to get something. I want to keep the context in a lot of different things, and so we do what we got to do to get. Maybe we want to make money, so we get into Amway. We want to whatever, but it's not really our passion. We're just doing it as a means to an end.
Yep.
And so the passion isn't there. It's a false thing. And so you really have to find what you're made to do and then just do it and sell it. Mm-hmm. And I want to apply this to, you find that passion in your life, you're going to be much more attractive. And figure out what it is, for those of you guys who are hurting, in your relationships with your wives and your families, what about the wife? What about the family? What lights you up the most? You know what I mean? What is it that really turns you on and lights you up the most? And, go after that. Add value to that. Sell her on that. And, and always it's about what you can add and what you can give. If you are in the place of I should get this and I'm trying to get, you have to get out of that. Whenever you're trying to get, that's the salesman who has to pay his mortgage and is desperate and is making all those calls, and the client doesn't want to pick it up because you can just tell. You can almost smell that.
Yep.
And so this is a great.
What was the Michael Keaton movie that he was Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I remember. I don't remember what the movie was called, but I never caught that.
All right,
I
so
wanted to see that.
I love movies. Obviously, someone made that movie based on someone else's perception of Ray Kroc. But for what people love movies about sales and it's all glamorous, and Alec Baldwin throws his watch and it's ABC, always be closing.
Always be closing.
So watch the portrait of Ray Kroc that they made in that movie, and you will see an entire different side of sales.
Okay.
Not glamorous. He was 40-something years old. He was as tacky as he could be. What was he? I can't remember what he was even selling, but it was just desperate. And Michael Keaton is such a good actor.
Okay.
He just came off the screen. Sometimes I was watching it and I said, oh, this is what I do for a living? Oh, this is terrible.
I got to see this movie now.
What an awful way to eke an existence out. And then he saw a burger joint running with just pinpoint efficiency, amazing, a line out the door. They can make a burger in 30 seconds, and he fell in love, and it became his passion.
Okay.
Now, the movie paints him as an absolute a-hole.
Okay.
And he was way too self-absorbed, and it was all about the money, which is what you get in. It's like what you said. I'm going to go work for a car dealership. That guy at that car dealership over there makes $300,000 a year. I'm going to go sell cars and make $300,000 a year. It doesn't always work that way.
Right.
Because like you said, it's that passion.
The passion.
Right. His passion, Ray Kroc, is for all I can tell, is he wanted to be the dominant burger chain, and that's what drove him. That's what he was passionate about.
Okay.
It came at the expense of his marriage. It became at the expense of his partners. It's terrible, but it just shows that there is a wrong way to do sales.
Okay. I want to see that.
Yeah. It's a good...
Make that a double feature with Glengarry and Glenn Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what he... Yes. But that's... he went about it the wrong way.
Right.
But at the same time, he was relentless in his pursuit of one thing.
Yes.
So his passion was a bit misguided, had a little bit of evil intent.
Sure.
But back to finding your passion.
Hey, it's a basic success principle. Go after one. Figure out that one thing you want and go after it relentlessly. Know exactly what you want and pursue it. And some people who do that, they really do it at the expense of everything. That's a man thing. We tend to do that. We get obsessed. We go after something. We throw everything else to the side. And for a while, sometimes you have to be obsessed with things. Yep. You really want to make it happen. But at the same time, it's a shame when you destroy your family over it.
Right.
Yeah, try not to do that. So Don, take us through this system that you have. Yes, I want to hear about this.
So we talk about resources. This is a podcast, so I'm not going to be able to show you. I suppose I could hold it up to the camera on Facebook. So what I developed is it's a 4-tab spreadsheet.
Okay.
Now, before you tune out, it's not a boring spreadsheet.
Okay.
There's no math equations.
Okay.
But it's tab A, tab B, C, and D.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to speak to it like when I'm in sales. Okay. So A, these are your A-list clients. Okay. A rhymes with 80, the 80-20 rule. So your page A should be the most important 20% of whatever you're doing.
Okay.
So when I apply it to my side projects, it's going to be the people I write for and keep their social media active, and then I blog, and I make sure that, so it's a grid, and I list them all. So I've got Dave, I've got Don, I've got Joe, I've got Mike, I've got all these people, the business, and then across the top is a 13-week. It's quarterly. Starts always the first week, so it's quarterly. So my current one is January through March, and then I've got a series of PH for phone, E for email, M for meeting, number of other things, P for proposal, I for idea, C for conversation, just so I can track. And then what it allows you to do is you look at that visual. It's like looking at a calendar, and you can't escape the fact that you haven't talked to Joe in 4 weeks. Okay. So on the A tab, it should almost be every other week at the very least. You should be touching these things. Okay. So if one of them is write my book, okay, you better be writing every day, every week. There better be something in there. Uh-huh. If the next one is job hunt, put, I'm going to say company A, company B, company C. Who'd you talk to? What's going on? Did you send an email? Was there a meeting? So you can do it like I do for advertiser 1, advertiser 2, buy this particular buyer, touch them. But these are important. You look at that every day, and if you see a gap of more than 2 cells without a little check mark or some activity, you better get in there, and you better track everything.
Okay.
B it's the B list. Okay, so these are friends that maybe your goal is I should touch base with these people once a month, maybe every 6 weeks. Set the guideline, but you can look in there too. Now the B might be, if there's 20, the 20% on the A. The B might be a little bit of that, and then there's just a ton of other people. Okay. Like if you're just looking at from, got a couple girls that you're kind of seeing or you've been, friendly with and want to get to know. You've got some friends you really want to keep in touch with. You got some projects on here. They're kind of long-term, saving for vacation, putting money away. That might be B. Because if you skip a whole line, that person might come out, that task might come out of there. Okay. C in the advertising world is seasonal. Okay. Because there are certain advertisers that they will only do business at certain times of year. Okay. If it's a boat, a boat company, if it's like a retail place, they might really do a ramp up because they'll do 80% of their business happens between Thanksgiving and Christmas, so they'll come back. Okay. In the advertising world, it was the haunted houses. Okay. You can't sell a haunted house on an advertising schedule in February. Right. Because they do not need to buy radio at that time of year. That's Absolutely not. Malls, they're not going to buy in April. So it's seasonal. So these are going to be people I call that person every year on Christmas. I call them every year on their birthday, but it is important that I don't miss their birthday. And then D is developmental. So these are some of the, I don't know, just your biggest, wildest dreams. You and I would put on their book. Okay. But I'd be focusing on A. That's where my energy is. That's making me now, if I don't do this stuff. B, C, D, I'm going to check that every now and then. Yep. And sometimes I'm going to take stuff off. Like the Dave and Don Alpha Shift book?
Yeah. We got a book coming, by the way.
Yeah.
This is Don just let that out.
Right.
Yeah.
It's on D, but I want to move it to B.
Yeah.
And then move it to A.
Yes.
Because then once we move it to A, then I'm talking to you every week.
Yeah.
So the grid's going to be full of, we're going to have W for write, we're going to have pitch, we're going to have rewrite, we're going to have meetings, and I'm going to know like, okay, this is moving forward. This is suddenly an A project.
Right.
Now what's over on the D? You and I talked about a movie.
Yeah.
Or maybe a meetup,
Yeah.
an alphas and ale type of thing with
Right.
our fans. Like, okay, we got to set that up.
Yeah.
But that can't all be A.
Okay.
So that might be D. They're developmental. So we don't forget that. It's still on there. It's where you dump all your crazy ideas.
Okay.
I'm going to learn guitar. Okay, put that on there. Put all that on the D, and then eventually you'll look at this and we'll start to flow.
Okay.
And then every quarter is set up for 13 weeks. So you got to spend time at end of March, heading into April, May, June, and take a look at your A's, B's, C's, and D's. And where are you going with that?
Okay.
Maybe Mike isn't so. Maybe you don't have to call Mike every single week. Mike can go over to the B. I'll call him every 3-4 weeks.
And this could be done with friends. This could be done with your priorities. Not just career.
Job search.
Job search. Working out, getting fit. Rebuilding your relationship with your wife. You could just put date nights.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. You could put or whatever priorities you're going to make. Dance lessons. If you're putting a relationship back together. So this could be applied to anything you're trying to accomplish.
Right. Let's say
it's a great success system.
Let's say one of my listeners, he doesn't remember the last time he told his wife, "I love you. You're amazing." Just make that an A. I love you. You're amazing. An A.
An A.
And you got to tell her every week. And the first time it comes out of your mouth, it's going to sound bizarre.
Right.
She's going to be like, "What? Did you read a book? Did you listen to a podcast?" Like,
yeah,
I did.
I did. I listened to the Alpha Shift podcast to tell me to do this. She's like, "Okay, fine."
But you just say no. I just don't remember the last time I told you I love you and you're amazing, and I don't want you to ever think I take you for granted. And you check it off that week.
You check it off that week, and then do it again.
And
the
then
next
do it
week.
again the
in
next
a different
week.
way. Don't say the same exact words.
But exactly. So are you manipulating a little bit? But no, you're reminding yourself because that's what complacency happens.
You know what though? You have to deliberately create your life, and Don, I think this is a great way to do that. Can you put? I don't mean to put you on the spot right here live on the podcast. Can you put a sample version of this up on Google Docs, and we can link to it in the show notes?
I have a Google Docs I've created. It's blank.
Okay.
A, B, C, D. And yes, that will be in the show notes for this podcast.
Check the show notes, guys. You can have a sample of Don's spreadsheet. I'm going to start using it myself.
I would even like you to put it on your research page on Alpha Shift.
Yes, I will.
Because I feel like some people do it naturally. Mm-hmm. But I think if you know me, some people, wow, Don he does this so naturally.
I have ways of keeping track of things,
but I don't do it naturally.
This is far superior to anything I've ever done,
Yeah.
so I'm going to give this a try.
And it is very simple.
Okay.
And it's your own report card, but it's I've been using it successfully, and I have used it for my work life, and I use it for my personal projects, just so I don't lose focus.
A great mentor of mine in the Global Information Network, Kevin Trudeau, he told us you need to consider having what he calls a goodwill file, where he's old school. He would use index cards and stuff where you keep track of your clients and your business relations, their birthdays, their families, and who they are, and keep touching them every month or so. Send them a Christmas card, and when you keep someone in yourself in front of someone in your goodwill file, they have goodwill towards you. They're going to want to do more business with you. They're going to respond better to you.
Right.
And it's a way of keeping yourself. And this is a little bit more high-tech way of doing that.
Yeah.
This is keeping that goodwill file, not just for business relations, but for your entire life.
And you will find if you don't know how other people do it, geez, how do they do it? You'll find you do this for a year, it's going to be very natural. It won't. Because you don't put stuff in there you don't want to do.
Right.
I mean, sometimes yes. I I'm trying to think like who I got to call my sister, and that's gonna be terrible if my sister listens to this. I enjoy talking to my sister.
Yeah.
I don't have to have her on the grid because I text her every single day.
Okay.
I call her once a week easily, but that's just an example. Some people, they don't love talking to their sister.
Right.
Their sister isn't the same person that they grew up with, but you've got to call them. You know it's important. You never want them to forget that. So you put your differences aside. But it's easy when you don't enjoy talking to someone to, when's the last time I talked to my sister? Or when's the last time I talked to...
It's easy to kick it to the curb.
my old boss. But if you have it in this grid, you're telling yourself, that my sister is an A priority for me, even though we're not getting along great these days.
Right.
I use that as an example.
Yeah.
Sorry, sister. That has nothing to do with you.
That has nothing to do. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. This is a great thing. All right. I'm into it. So we'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah. You could probably tell I'm into it too. I get very excited about it. Like this is.
Yeah. Well, because it's a way of keeping on top of your life, keeping on top of your priorities. I think so many times. With our personal lives and with our financial lives and with our professional lives, we feel so out of control because we don't know if we're coming or going.
Right.
We don't know what's important. We get overwhelmed. We get a mental fog, if we don't really know what our top priorities are. And, there are a lot of different ways to manage your priorities. I used to use a priority manager system. I used to use a Franklin Planner at one point. And all of these things are great. Right now I'm just using like a basic notebook. But when you can really look at your long and short-term priorities, it's kind of I'm doing that thing I was talking about last week where I go, blah, blah, blah.
Right. I just feel like it's necessary to jump in.
So
if you use the spreadsheet too and modify it to your own thing, maybe you need A, B, C, D, and E. Maybe you've got to.
It's like your whole life in front of you, I guess is what I was trying to say. It's like all of your priorities. Yeah. From the immediate urgent stuff all the way to things you're planning for the future.
Right.
And you review that on a regular basis. And
you
know where
you're
at.
Holidays. Even if it's just if you look at your friends, seasonal. There are friends that I don't talk to, but they always get a Christmas card from me.
It's exciting.
I always send them a Christmas card.
Not just for business, it's exciting to apply that to your personal life too.
Yeah.
That way it's like, okay, this person's a seasonal person, and you can kind of figure out your correspondence and where you need to prioritize things. And no, I'm not deficient in contacting people. I've contacted all my top priority people, and I'll get in touch with the seasonal people at the right season or whenever it's appropriate.
You never have to say it's been too long because it will be your own choosing if it was that long.
Exactly.
And so you can just call someone and say, like, I had you on my B tab. So
you were on the B tab.
You're only a once every 6 weeks person in my life.
Yeah, right. I don't know if I would tell someone that outright. But you know what? If chances are, if someone is your B tab, you're probably their B tab too, at least subconsciously, and so it'll feel right.
Right.
It'll feel correct.
It's enough. Mm-hmm. You can't. Another thing in sales you have to know is you can't be everyone's favorite guy.
Right.
There is when you get into the world of sales and all these A-type personalities, it does that's why people don't like sales, because it becomes caustic and everybody wants to be the most liked, the most popular. They want everybody to say yes and like them. So it's a very interesting world.
Well, and Alec Baldwin scares the crap out of me in Glengarry and Ross.
Right.
I don't like him.
Right.
I don't want him to yell at me and tell me I need to always be closing and I can't have a watch like his.
Right.
So it gives sales a bad name.
Mm-hmm.
That scene gives me nightmares when he's like yelling at those guys and Ed Harris and all that. Yeah.
But it's not all that's you would never treat your real life like that. You would never treat your friends, your projects. It's just selling. Yeah. It's just that relentless pursuit of something.
That relentless pursuit of something. Always be closing. Yep. So maybe we could recontextualize always be closing as in life. When you're with people, when you always be closing, always be doing the thing to close the sale, and that might just be
always be committed.
Yeah, committed. Give somebody some sort of value.
Yeah, always be creative.
It's like giving and giving value. It's not so much a matter of I'm going to get the money out of you or I'm going to get what I need from you.
Yeah,
just
always be compelling. Always
compelling and giving value.
Yeah,
these are great life lessons for guys, some of these guys who are always writing in and they want to get out of depression and they want to get better, responses from their girlfriends and their wives. Do this stuff. do this stuff. It's like I'm always talking about taking charge of your destiny, taking charge of your life, and this is a great way to do it. This is a great way to do it, and to know the score.
Yeah.
It's another thing I'm always talking about is know the score in your life.
If you feel a lot of times, and we've all been there. I feel for people who can't get out of this this cloud, but sometimes it's the overwhelm, and maybe you never have taken time to write it down and map it into a grid. So try, if you feel like you're floating and I don't know, how often should I call? Like, try this.
Yeah.
And it will clarify some things. There's no way it can't.
Yeah.
Because a spreadsheet has a way of doing that.
Yeah, it has a way of creating clarity. And clarity gives you clear vision, it gives you focus, and that gives you, that eases your nerves.
All right.
Eases your heart when you know what the hell you are doing.
So go to the show notes, go to
Yes.
alphashift.com and look for the resources. I'm going to have this very available.
Okay.
It's a blank spreadsheet. You'll see it, and I have all my little codes. It's built around actual sales for my job.
Okay.
But be creative.
By all means. Yeah. I mean, sales is a great foundation from which to start.
Yeah.
You can apply it to all the... Now, can I put, like, in this one spreadsheet, can I put, like, my business goals, my personal goals? Can it all kind of be in there in the A, B, C, D tab?
Nope. It's really... Well, I mean, I guess...
Or should I do a different spreadsheet for each area of my life?
No, you'll see the grid. And
Okay.
we can have a follow-up session, or you can ask me questions about this, or anybody. We'll put that out there.
Okay.
No, it's activity. It's activity.
Okay, it's
tracking.
activity.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's activity.
If you have that goal and it is book, well then you better have activity every single week, because that's your priority. Like if you're gonna write the book by June, you better have activity every single week on that, and maybe you even drill down even further. But that's a good thing about a spreadsheet.
Okay.
You can write 10 sentences in a little cell, and it just make it so it's in there and you can read it. But it is activity.
Okay.
All right. So
Okay.
What's next?
Sounds good. Well, I mean, I think we got through it early this week, Don.
Oh, wow, wait.
What else we got?
Well, we were going to talk about purpose. And
Purpose.
Alpha Shift After Dark, which
Alpha Shift After Dark. Yes.
I was going to leave for that part.
Oh, you were excited about that part.
Too many friends and family that listen.
Okay. All right. So we're going to leave that to the end part. So they probably got, stop listening at this point. Okay. All right. Kids, cover your ears. We're talking about sales. We're talking about providing value. This was an idea that I had when we'll bring this back to the value that you provide in your relationship. We don't talk about this. We haven't talked about this enough on the Alpha Shift, but we're talking about the bedroom now. And I've been seeing I follow a lot of comments from people in relationships. I'm in about 101 Facebook groups. I follow Reddit forums. I want to know what people are saying. I want to know what's out there on the street. And one of the very common complaints from women is that their husbands and their boyfriends are clueless, lame lovers. Self-centered, unaware. They get a little horny, get themselves off, and off they go, and she's left.
It's a very
bereft.
Very caveman existence.
A very caveman existence, it sounds like.
It feels very, remember the sitcom Married with Children?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's just they didn't like each other at all. And
yeah, no.
The romance was dead.
The romance was dead. Let me tell you something. If you have a rapport like that with your girlfriend or your wife, how do you ever expect her to want to have sex with you?
Right.
I mean, how do you expect that to ever because here's what a woman needs, and I'll just flat out tell you. She needs to have safety and trust, and she needs to be open to you. So she needs all of that emotional support that's like so painful for you to give sometimes. She needs to feel heard. She needs to feel a connection before the sexual attraction can really... Now, in the beginning of a relationship, when you're just horny for someone because they're hot, anybody can do that. That's the first couple months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That happens.
Yes.
For both the woman and for the man.
It's an animal attraction.
An animal attraction. That subsides. The animal attraction is there. Mother Nature put that in there so that you will fucking have children. Okay,
Yep.
so that's why that exists. I'm just going to tell you straight out. That's why your DNA loves to, her pheromones and your pheromones are all interlocking, and you get all horned up so that you will do
Back
it.
when Homo sapiens didn't even have language.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It was just, they lived to like 38 years
so
old.
that you will do it and get pregnant, and the species will perpetuate.
Yes.
That's why that exists. And so, where young kids and older than not so young kids all fall in love, and it's like that, and we think it's always going to be like that. It's not always like that. If in modern life, relationships can actually last for a while. And when they do, and when we're playing house together and having a real life together and living real life, you have to create a very safe place for her. You have to do all of the things we talk about in the alpha shift. You have to be strong. You have to be masculine. You have to provide leadership. You can't be depending on her emotionally. You have to kind of provide that support and create trust and build rapport. And like Don was talking about, where you're always continuing to make the sale with your wife of 10 years, let's say, you have to be constantly making the sale. Send her a text from work. Tell her how great she looked when she was walking out the door this morning. Do little things to keep her engine running. If you want to send a dick pic, if that's the kind of relationship, great. But whatever it is for you, calibrate it for what's appropriate for you and her in your relationship. But keep her engine running. You want to have sex that night on Friday night? You need to keep her engine running all week long. You need to start on Wednesday. Okay, realistically, if you need to keep the engine running, always from a place to, like we said before in the podcast, of adding value. Don't be obvious that you're trying to get her horned up for Friday night. Say, I'm gonna have you later. You're always just telling her how beautiful she is, how much she turns you on, and kind of just leave it at that. And you can, yes, talk about, boy, if I were with you right now, I would do this, this, and that. But it's never coming from a place, and this is where you have to check yourself. You can't be coming from a place of needy desperation. Women smell that. Women smell that before you even realize you're putting it out. They are really perceptive. They're they're annoyingly perceptive. That's why you can't bullshit a bullshitter. You have to actually be the thing. You have to authentically not be in a place of needing to get what you're get the result or the sale.
Well, it's always okay. So going back to all of life is a sale.
Yeah.
If you are genuine and you believe in what you're selling,
yes,
you will always succeed over the person that doesn't believe in it. They don't understand it. They don't have a passion for it.
Correct.
So if you have ever been in love with the person that is your girlfriend, fiance, wife, well, that you fell in love for something. There was something there. You believe in it. You believed in the relationship and what you had enough to say, we're going to get married. We're going to spend the rest of our lives together.
Yeah.
So it's not just done after that.
Right.
A concept I've always had for, I've seen people have affairs, and I've seen it done.
People so you've seen this in real life.
I've seen it done out of cowardice.
Yes.
I just have a theory that sometimes people, either side, man, woman, they don't have the courage to face their spouse and say, I am not in love with you anymore.
Right.
So instead, they will engage in terrible behavior, hoping to get caught, and then when they do, they don't really have to have that confrontation because it's already done.
Right.
It's like if I didn't want to do this podcast anymore, the adult thing for me to do would be like, Dave, I got every Thursday is really difficult, and work is killing me, and I have this side project that I'm doing, and I'm coaching I got to take a break from the podcast for a while. Or I could do the coward's way out. I could just stop showing up. Dave, I'm sick. Dave, I lost my voice.
He stops showing up, and then he shows up on someone else's podcast cheating on me.
Exactly. So,
Don, damn it!
You're like, I thought you had a sore throat. What are you?
Now you're on this girl's podcast.
I was watching the Pistons game. Not that you would ever be watching the Pistons game.
Right. I could be on about that.
You're sitting there cheering. Like, why didn't you just tell me?
Right.
Because I was too much of a coward.
Right.
So I would make these little excuses to make you feel bad for me. Like, Don is always sick.
Yeah.
Don got in a car accident. So it's the coward's way out. And then now Don's on another podcast.
An inability to confront reality.
You feel terrible we're not friends anymore
Right.
because I just treated you like a total asshole.
You ass.
So I have seen people have affairs, and I believe they're taking the coward's way out.
It's an inability to confront the reality in front of you.
So I share that, and I say, have an affair with your wife.
Yes.
Treat her like a stranger.
Treat her, yes.
Ask her things out of the blue, even that you know.
Yeah.
Like, tell me the top 10 places you would vacation if someone gave us $10,000 to go right now. Just get her mind working.
Get her mind working on it.
That has nothing to do. But it's, wow, that's an interesting question.
Because
when's the last time you asked? I think I know my wife, and
Sure.
I know what her answers are, but I don't.
But you don't.
So, give me that, Kathy, give me that list.
I think so much of success for people in relationships is a decision. Yes, there are the right things to do, and that's a great one. Is ask her those questions and almost treat that like an affair. And you have to decide to do it. Some people they just decide to take the coward's way out. They just don't care enough, because there's no magic sauce to making a relationship work. The people who are in, marriages that last a lifetime, as opposed to people, they're not better than the people who get divorced. They just made better decisions.
Yep.
They made better decisions. They made a better choice. Because that's really what it comes down to. I think everyone goes through ebbs and flows where you feel more in love and less in love with your spouse. Mm-hmm. That's normal. I think some people go through that and they're like, oh, maybe I'm not with the right person because I'm feeling a little different.
Right.
No, that's not how it goes, man. This is the ups and downs of life.
Right.
And so it's really about, the quality of your own character and making a decision to focus your energy back on rebuilding that relationship. And rather than go home and sit in front of the TV and drink a fucking beer and not let anybody talk to me all night, I'm going to go and ask my wife about 10 places she'd love to vacation if we had $10,000.
Yeah.
That's and that might be just like a cold sales call. That might be like, oh, do I really have to do that?
Yeah.
But
or save up $1,000 or save up $2,000 and say, if we had $2,000, where would you want to go on vacation? What would you want to do?
Yeah.
Maybe your answer is Vegas. Maybe like, I'd love to go to New York. And then like, hey, okay, guess what? We're going to New York.
I got $2,000. We're going to New York.
I've been saving up, and you just wait. So always be creative. Always be compelling. This is the thing. And if we happen to have a female listener, it can work both ways.
Yes, absolutely.
Like
this is dynamite.
Your boyfriend, your husband, like, who is this woman? Why is she asking me this stuff? This is crazy, but it's uncomfortable. But going back to the affair, when you first meet someone, all this stuff works.
Yeah.
Nothing is thrown out the window.
Yes.
You can be as weird and off the wall as you want, and it's what, oh my gosh. Dave is amazing. He's just like so quirky and funny and everything. But then when you stop that, it's like, hey, what happened to that quirky, funny Dave guy that I liked when we first met? And this is a way to
bring it back.
Just an idea to have that affair.
And it
treat your wife like you don't know anything about it.
And it does get more challenging.
Be silly.
When you're in a long-term relationship, it's more challenging to do that because real life has set in. The hormones have settled down. The pheromones have settled down. It's easy when you first meet somebody because then all the oxytocin, you're excited.
Right.
And so you have to kind of be more deliberate about it. With your wife of 20 years.
Yeah. So let's say you're using my grid, which I'm going to share.
Yeah.
And on A tab, the number one sell is do something romantic. Be romantic.
Yes.
And so now, once a week, staring you in the face is shit.
An accountability partner.
I haven't done anything romantic this week.
I need to do something romantic
I got to
this
think
week.
of something. So
yes.
just, roses are red, violets are blue, you're super awesome, I love you. Like
Put it on the fridge.
Put it on the fridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Write a little note, fold it, put it in your car. You haven't done that in a million years. Like it's, wow. What's gotten into you? Are you drunk? Did you But if you haven't been doing that.
I got to tell you something too.
Yeah.
My last girlfriend, when, in the first half of the relationship, when things were really good, she would do that. She would write me little notes. She'd put it on my laptop before she went to work, and I would find it. And that was like, I remember that now. That was like my favorite thing ever.
Little things.
Little notes. Little things that just say, I love you and I appreciate you.
Yeah.
That was, and I'm telling you that as the recipient of that. That's what I think that what I appreciated and loved more than anything is when she would do that. Just the little thoughtful things.
And maybe bring, a single rose home every single
Yes.
Friday. Now, for some, okay, that's lame. Now you haven't worked, you haven't gotten creative, you haven't done something different. But if you do that every Friday, and then you do something a little bit different with it, like, I forgot the rose and I brought a dozen this time to get us through the night. Oh, now it's you change.
You
it
could
up
do a
little
rose.
bit.
You could do a note. You could do a gift. The idea. Bring her some sort of tribute for your love for her, and then just change it up.
Right.
Give it new stimuli.
Right. Take her car, go fill it with gas.
Yeah.
Just randomly. Like,
Yeah.
where are you going? Like, go fill it with gas. Use the vacuum, clean it up inside.
Yeah.
Simple. It doesn't have to be always like, we're going to the south of France. Like, no. Most normal people
can't
do
afford
what
that.
you-
Right.
Yeah, we all watch The Bachelor. You
Yeah.
probably don't watch The Bachelor either.
No, God.
But The Bachelor is always it's one of my favorite things.
I know you love The Bachelor.
I love it. I've
Yeah.
written about it. I want to
Uh-huh.
write a dating book based on lessons learned from The Bachelor.
Okay.
So that's going to be D. That's on
That's-
D.
that's D, okay.
The D tab. But it is like, I always wonder how any of those relationships could work after the show, because they are dating in the most unreal environment. There is nothing. Nobody has to go to work. They're on helicopters. Everything is candlelit. They've got wine. Everyone's beautiful. No one has a blemish or a zit flare up. It's absolutely
Hollywood
perfection.
makeup artists make that
Right.
possible. Yeah.
Yeah. So the only way after the show ends, that relationship only goes downhill.
I know, and didn't the latest Bachelorette like sleep with 4 of the guys or something? I mean, I think I read some crazy articles about.
Yeah,
like,
no, she was gonna. I forget what. She was gonna take everyone for a test drive.
That's wow. What do you think about that?
It made it fun to watch.
It's a little shrewd, and I can see how she got some flack from the audience, and I can see where she got some kickback from that. Some pushback from that. But wow, yeah, take everyone for a what have we come to today? Yeah, I think that show might be the fall of Western society right there on a TV show.
But
I think
it's modern day romance. I think that's how love looks and works. And if you believe in love and romance, watch The Bachelor.
Watch The Bachelor. Good. God,
no, it's madness.
It's madness, and normal people are trying to live normal lives are watching this. How is it affecting them?
Yeah.
How is it affecting a 16-year-old girl? How is it?
I have a 16-year-old.
You have a 16-year-old girl.
She watches it with us.
Okay,
and she said, "What if I ever go on this show?" I'm like, "Well, if you ever go on the show, when you bring him home to meet your family, I won't be here because it will kill me.
Yeah,
I will die.
Yeah,
knowing that you went on this show.
Would you?
I love watching it. I don't want to watch my daughter on it ever.
If your daughter got on The Bachelorette, could you watch the show? Could you watch the whole season?
No, I would die.
You would die. You would
Yeah.
have a heart attack, and it'd be the end of it.
I wasn't kidding. Like, you will come home like, I want you to meet my family. Where's Dad? He died the minute you left to go on the show.
Okay.
His heart broke, and
his heart broke, and he just there he was on the floor.
Yes.
Right. I mean, that was just I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, my God. But
so that's that. If you
got off on a tangent about your 16-year-old daughter going on The Bachelorette.
Watch The Bachelor and Bachelorette because you will. First, you'll see what terrible.
Yeah, use discernment when you watch these things. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see the worst guys. You'll see the worst girls, and you'll be like, okay, how did they ever find matches? Or maybe they grew up and get more mature.
Right.
But that's why I wanted to write a dating book because, like I always observed in the fraternity, there were just like guys that got it. It was easy for them, and then there were guys that just tried too hard.
Yes.
And then there were guys that didn't try at all, but it still just happened for them. They were just like animals, and somehow it worked for them.
It just worked.
And when you go, and now when I watch The Bachelorette, I enjoy The Bachelorette more than I do The Bachelor because it's 40 guys after one girl. And there are just, what I call them, they're girl guys. They're men that act like women. They're
the effeminate men.
They're needy, emotional. They're just...
Oh, okay.
This is terrible. I just said that. Can we edit that part out?
I might like it and not want to edit it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I call it, there's girl guys, there's macho guys.
Okay.
They're all sorts. And you can tell right away the chaff from the wheat.
Yeah.
But that guy's nice. He's having a regular conversation. Like, he's a front runner there.
Okay.
And so you can... if you're struggling in dating, first
so
you'll be amused.
You see the different personality types that are okay.
And you might see the one like that guy is me, and they're like, oh, I gotta fix myself.
That's powerful. All right, I like that angle.
So, and then back to I made one more note.
Yeah.
About my wife's a cold fish or my husband is a moron. Let's just throw this on the table.
Okay.
The book 50 Shades of Grey.
Yes.
Was a huge bestseller.
One of the biggest of all time.
So secretly, deep down, people weren't as shocked and offended by that, and the excitement and just this rabid sexual energy appealed. And I could probably guess. I'm going to say 80% of the readers of that book were women.
More than 80%. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, and that women made that book a bestseller.
Yeah.
And women, women are the primary consumers of romance novels. And romance, and 50 Shades was kind of like a more extreme version of a romance novel. You have this stoic, kind of troubled man who's like intense, and he can only be tamed or changed by the feminine wiles of the heroine. And that's like your typical like Spanish Armada romance novel.
And the story behind that is it's a spin-off of Twilight. I think
Twilight, I think, is an extrapolation of that. That's because that's Twilight. That is what Twilight is. I mean, that's absolutely what the Twilight novels are, except for like tweens.
Well, my point is
romance, and
don't be afraid to push the envelope.
Yes, because the Shades of Grey are just kind of an S&M take.
Right.
On that. And we're more open sexually as a society than we've ever been, so we're open for that.
Correct.
And so, yes, and women respond powerfully to that.
Yeah. And then on the opposite side of the coin, like, guys that get old, they don't go for the same things that they did. Well, something is supporting the pornography industry.
You got to be sexually exciting as a man, to keep her excited.
And so the fact that there is that industry over here that we know guys watch, 80%, and then there are romance novels, and of the romance novels, 80% of them are readers. So we've got these two universes that say the other side is not interested. Right. They're not kinky. They're not fun. They're not sexual. And then
they are.
And then no one. It's like a middle school dance, and the boys are sitting over here, and the girls are sitting over there, and they will not dance with each other.
Right.
But let's just say there is obvious signs that everybody is ready to dance.
Yeah, everyone's ready to dance, and I would say to that, men, you got to take the lead because she's not going to. She's not going to take you on a walk through how to do it. That's just awkward. And women, when he takes the lead, be receptive.
Mm-hmm.
Be a little bit, be patient. Make suggestions. And let them know what you like and what you don't like.
And men, watch for clues.
Yes, pay attention.
So they won't. They may not always be the overt, but if you're paying attention, oftentimes they will put out a clue.
Yeah, the biggest.
And if you're watching Shawshank Redemption again or a football game on TV, you might miss that clue.
Yeah, we tend to get in our heads and get enclosed, and we don't see the clues around us. Like you don't see, when your wife thinks she's being obvious, and then she gets frustrated that you're not paying attention. So that will be the whole taking initiative sexually. This could be several more shows. Coming up in February, you guys, we're going to have Marilyn Moore on, and she is a relationship expert who I've done some work with, and she's going to talk a little bit more about some of the personality types and some of the numerology that I've touched on. So we're going to have her in February, and I think on February 20th we're going to have our friend Michelle. Who is going?
Ooh, a lady.
Yes, she's
ladies on the Alpha Show.
2 ladies on the Alpha Show. Michelle's going to come on and talk about some of her dating experiences. She's a woman. She's married very successfully now to a friend of ours. It's the second marriage for both of them, and so she's going to tell some of her war stories and share some of her wisdom. So we've got a lot of interesting stuff coming up.
Excellent, boy. I better be.
Yeah. So you
showered and shaved.
And ready to go.
Rested. Yeah, I got
well rested.
Best foot forward.
Yes. We're going to be taking next week off. I'm going to be in Los Cabos, Mexico.
Okay.
And then we'll be back the week after that.
Okay.
All right.
Dave.
Don,
been
thank
a good
you.
Night.
Yes, been a good night. Thank you so much for sharing. I think that spreadsheet's going to be very helpful and transformational for myself and for many of the readers. We're going to put it up in the show notes.
Yep, it's just another tool. Just try it. Try it if you like. I can't. How can you keep it all straight? try this.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you've listened to this long, and are you going to get this up before the weekend?
Yeah, during the weekend, probably toward the end of the weekend.
Okay, so if you have time in your calendar and you can make it to Ann Arbor, go to themoth.org.
Oh, okay.
You can edit this out.
Yeah, okay. No, don't tell me what's going on.
I'm going to the, next week, my brother and I are going to the Moth in Ann Arbor at the Blind Pig. Doors open at 7, and if I get lucky, like I have before, I will get up on stage and tell a story.
What day?
It is Tuesday. Tuesday the 21st at the Blind Pig in Ann Arbor. You have to buy tickets in advance, so go to themoth.org and navigate. You'll find the event. It's like $15 ticket.
All right, I'll get this up over the weekend.
Okay, and if every time I have gone, I've been able to get up on stage and tell a story. The theme this week is beauty. So there'll be 10 storytellers, and they'll all tell stories about beauty, some sort of a beauty theme.
Okay.
And if you want to meet, that's where I'll be.
All right, fantastic. I will get that up, and anybody who can get up there, that'd be great.
Yep.
All right.
And then I have another. Well, we'll talk about it off air.
Okay.
But I have another experiment coming up, and Dave is going to be the guinea pig.
I'm going to be the guinea pig. More on that in 2 weeks.
All right.
All right, everybody, have a great week, stellar week, and we'll talk to you soon. I'm Dave Kruger.
And I'm Don Kovaleski.
We'll see you next time. Thanks.